Hey everybody, it's TJ here. Welcome to another episode of Smash Ultimate Countdown, the show where we count down the days to the release of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for Nintendo Switch on December 7th. We break down the blog that Nintendo's generous enough to update on an almost daily basis. We cover the characters, items, stages, any other significant Smash-related news that may have broke throughout the week. I'm going to infuse my own thoughts and opinions about it, and of course, I want to invite you to share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Before we get into this one, I want to thank everybody for the incredible response about last episode's Smash Ultimate Countdown, where I relayed my crazy Waluigi theory. Many of you, as I imagined would be the case, immediately called me out on my crazy. I can't blame you there. But just as many of you lended supporting arguments that actually made me feel like maybe I'm not as crazy as I thought I was, and many of you supplemented my theory with ideas and evidence that I hadn't even been aware of. So needless to say, it was a joy for me to read the comments. Let's stick together, and before we know it, December 7th will be here and the game will be in our hands. Now onto the blog. Kicking things off is a character spotlight for Ness, one of 4 unlockable characters from the original Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. Now I could be wrong about this, but my feeling is that out of all of the original cast on the Nintendo 64 title, Ness was probably the most obscure. Earthbound first released in North America in 1995. It was on my radar because I was a subscriber of Nintendo Power and they really pushed that game hard with a lot of heavy promotion. The game really appealed to me out of the gate. It took me a little while to save up enough money to buy it, and even after I did, the game wound up being a lot more of an investment of time than I initially thought, probably the longest game that I had played up to that point, so I had a few start and stops. As it turned out for me, that happened to fall between the summer of my 8th grade year and when I was starting high school, and you know, you're already a semi-awkward, pubescent teenager trying to figure out who you are, navigate your way through life, and that manifested itself for me as somewhat of a, I would say, lonely summer, and I resolved that I would finally sit down and play this game. And it pretty much took me the full length of the summer to be able to get through it. The game involves some heavy grinding. I spent almost 3 days straight just traversing a desert, hunting down these little worms that gave you an exorbitant amount of EXP points, just so I could be powerful enough to progress to the end. It's a game I feel very fortunate that I had the time to be able to stick with, and if that game were to release now, I don't know that I would be able to play it. But because I already had it under my belt by the time that Smash Bros. Released, unlocking Ness was an extremely rewarding experience for me. Interestingly enough, Ness's special moves in Smash aren't actually reflective of his moves in Earthbound. He's borrowing moves from some of the other party members. So in some ways, his character winds up being more of an homage to Earthbound itself than just Ness specifically. So it's nice to see that some of the other characters that you grow to really appreciate throughout the Earthbound experience find a way to get their fingerprints in Smash even if they're not available as playable characters. I always thought of Ness as appealing more to advanced players. His up B isn't exactly what you'd call automatic. It requires a little bit more finesse and coordination. Using it for recovery, for defense, and also offense, I feel like is kind of key to success with Ness. I'm gonna be honest with you, he's way outside my skill set. But he's a character that I really have a strong fondness for. I played Earthbound over 20 years ago, and I imagine I'm probably somewhat older than most of you watching this. Most of you probably never owned a Super Nintendo, and it took a long time for Earthbound to be playable in another format. I believe it has released on Virtual Console, either on the Wii or the Wii U, or both, maybe even the 3DS, and it's definitely available on the Super NES Classic. So there are a few ways out there that some younger gamers might have been able to experience Earthbound. Let me know if you've ever played Earthbound. If you did, what system did you play it on, and what did you think of it? The item we've got for you here is an assist trophy, this time containing Rathalos. Rathalos is a dragon-like beast from the Monster Hunter series. In Smash Bros. 4, we did get Rathalos armor that the Mii fighters could wear. I think the armor looks amazing, and Dark TJ actually uses it for his King armor in the Smash Chess trilogy. I have very little experience with the Monster Hunter series myself. My brother, for the last 10 years, has been trying to convince me to play with him. He's a huge Monster Hunter junkie. He doesn't only play it on Nintendo, he plays it on every console that it's available on. He always says he's not going to start over again, and he always does. He plays it on PC. He's deeply embroiled in some monster hunting probably right now as I record this. The longest I've ever been able to sit and play the game was actually at the most recent E3 on the Nintendo 3DS. I don't want to get too into it. I could see what the appeal of the game is, but for me, it takes so long to beat these monsters down, and hitting them provides such little satisfaction. I'm going into their place and I'm disrupting their nests, and I'm taking them out when they really seem to be just minding their own business. So I have a little bit of a, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm the bad guy in the game. And also, attacking the monsters doesn't physically displace them the way it does in Breath of the Wild, which has one of the most robust physics engine of any game I've ever played, where when you hit somebody, it's very satisfying. You move them and you can feel the strong impact. And in Monster Hunter, the monster just kind of continues to free move no matter what, and when you hit it, it changes its animations as you deplete its health. But I just kind of felt like I was chasing around this monster and torturing it for what seemed like 30 minutes. So maybe Monster Hunter might not be my speed, but there are lots of things about the game that I think are awesome. And it's pretty amazing that some of these things are coming into Smash. One of the most notable things about Rathalos is this is the first time where an assist trophy is also a stage boss. I think Mr. Sakurai has dropped enough hints to lead us to believe that stage bosses are going to play a significant role in this game. What that means, we don't know at this point. Will it relate in some way to the green mystery mode? At this point we can only speculate, but one of the more far-reaching implications of this is since a character can appear in the game in more than one capacity, as an assist trophy and also as a stage boss, does that then mean that it opens the doors for characters to be assist trophies and also playable characters? Or does it mean that a character can be a stage boss and also a playable character? Ridley was a stage boss in Smash Bros. 4 and now he's a playable character in Smash Ultimate. Will he also be returning as a stage boss? I don't know. Maybe you have to defeat him as a stage boss to unlock him as a playable character. Another little interesting side note about Rathalos is that during his reveal at the most recent Nintendo Direct, one of the screenshots is strikingly reminiscent of the battle from Golden Sun, a really cool Game Boy Advance game that I did get to play back in the day. The Golden Sun series stars a swordsman by the name of Isaac, who has long been requested to be a playable character in Smash Bros. Even though Golden Sun was very well received at its time, and it did spawn a sequel, there's been no action on the Golden Sun front for over a decade, that I'm aware of at least. So like a lot of other characters that are popular in the gaming community, like King K. Rool, who also hasn't appeared in a game for quite some time, it's too exact to just be random. Is this screenshot just a loving homage to Golden Sun? Or is this one of those subtle breadcrumbs that Sakurai so loves dropping to keep the Smash community talking and on our toes? Isaac did get a little love as an assist trophy for Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii. Yes, I know, Brawl is on the Wii. I misspoke in the last episode and accidentally said Wii U when I was talking about Brawl, so to the hundreds of people in the comment section who corrected me, I love you guys. Thank you for keeping me honest. But inexplicably, for some reason on the Wii U, for Smash Bros. 4, Isaac's assist trophy was not included. Some speculated this was because of intentions to make him available as a playable character, but as we now know, that never did come into fruition. Is Smash Bros. Ultimate finally Isaac's time? I don't expect Isaac to be as controversial as, say, Waluigi, but there's definitely an audience out there who knows of Isaac. So let me pass the ball to you. Did you play Golden Sun? And is Isaac a character that you would like to see playable in Super Smash Bros.? The song selection for this week is the main theme from Yoshi's New Island. One of the hallmarks of the Yoshi series is just incredible music. I wouldn't describe myself as the biggest fan of the Yoshi series, but I'm a big enough fan to buy every single one and play through every single one, and they always live up to my expectations. I think out of all of them, the one that I've enjoyed the most is Yoshi's Woolly World. It's the first game that my daughter and I were really able to dig into and play together. And in my opinion, the Yoshi's Woolly World music is the high point of the series. Anytime I hear one of those songs from any stage, I'm humming it for the entire day long. Yoshi's New Island boasts some pretty strong musical selections itself. However, the particular track featured this week on Smash doesn't really appeal to my taste. It has a very calypso vibe, kinda takes me to Island of Delfino a little bit. Nothing wrong with it, it's just not exactly my jam. Give it a listen and see what you think. You can find it at smashbrothers.com under the music tab, as well as all of the other selections that Nintendo has made available for sampling. The stage we're going to take a look at for this week is one brand new for Smash Bros. Ultimate based on New Donk City from Super Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey might not be my favorite game on the Switch, and it might actually be my least favorite Mario game. Don't hate me, but this stage for Smash Bros. Ultimate is one of the ones I'm most excited about. It has a really cool music gimmick going on where when any fighter touches one of the musicians, that musician's instrument gets added to the background music. This is one of those things that Nintendo does better than anybody else. I really love how they deconstruct the music and allow the player to have more of an impact on what the music sounds like by engaging with on-screen elements to be able to bolster the track. My favorite example of this I can think of goes back to Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube. You walk into some music room and you start adding each of these different instruments into the background music, and before you know it, you're playing the original theme to Super Mario Bros. And even to this day now, when I hear that song in any format, I can pick out all those individual pieces because of what a memorable experience that created for me in Luigi's Mansion. So I have a feeling New Donk City is going to allow me to create some brand new musical memories. It's also possible for Pauline to make an appearance. She'll sing her Jump Up Superstar song, which none of us can seem to get enough of. I think it's a really elegant tribute to Nintendo's first leading lady. Next up, we've got another character highlight, this time for Nintendo's current leading lady, Princess Peach herself. Peach has been a playable character in Smash Bros. Since the second iteration of the game on the GameCube. She's never been my main, and I don't spend a ton of time playing with her, but every time I do play as Peach, I find her to be highly intuitive, and I love how her moveset covers so many different genres and titles. She can reference her numerous sports appearances with tennis rackets and golf clubs. She can pull turnips as a reference to her first playable experience in Super Mario Bros. 2, at least here in North America. You know, little side note here, I'm probably the only Nintendo fan that you're ever going to hear say this, but I actually like Super Mario Bros. 2 the best out of the trilogy on the original NES. Back in those days, sequels were almost always a far departure from what their original title was. You saw it with Legend of Zelda, where the sequel became a side-scrolling type deal. And the original Super Mario Bros. Has a very linear path. All you have to do is get from your starting point on the left side of the screen to as far as you can travel right until you hit the flag, the castle, or fight Bowser. You can only play as Mario and Luigi in the first game, and they were essentially an identical palette swap of each other. But for North American Super Mario Bros. 2, you could play as Mario, Luigi, Toad, or Princess Peach. And it was this game where each of these four characters started to develop their own signature styles. Luigi became taller and leaner, and he had his flutter jump. Toad was short, fast, and strong. And Princess Peach had her floating ability, where she can kind of hover for some distance before dropping down. This enabled you to explore the levels in this game in a whole host of different ways. Because of its somewhat non-linear progression, different characters allowed you to access different places at different times, even in some cases allowing you to skip entire portions of levels, if you combine the right character with the right move at the right time. My younger brother would always play as Princess Peach because he loved how he could just skip through vast portions of the stage by utilizing her hover ability. One of the most amazing things about the North American Super Mario Bros. 2, which was based on the Japanese game Doki Doki Panic, all of the sprites were changed into Mario characters so that the game would have better appeal in the West because of what a big hit Super Mario Bros. Was, and the real Super Mario Bros. 2 was deemed to be too difficult for Western audiences because it was basically like a hard mode of what the original Super Mario Bros. Was. I feel like I might have said that in kind of a confusing way. Hopefully you're still with me. But the point I'm trying to get at is Doki Doki Panic was obviously not developed to eventually be Super Mario Bros., but that is what it became. And many of the qualities that the Super Mario characters acquire in this game are things that have defined their personalities and their move styles for every game since. Some would describe that as a happy accident. I would describe that as destiny. Other characters like Birdo and Shy Guy are only in the Super Mario series because of Super Mario Bros. 2. And other Mario series staples. It always kind of ruffles my feathers anytime Nintendo's criticized for continuing with this misogynistic narrative of the hero saving the princess and the princess always being this damsel in distress, because going all the way back to 1988, Princess Peach to me is a hero in her own right. And the final entry on the Smash blog for this week is another character spotlight, this time for Wolf. It's been 10 years since Wolf has been able to face off against his Star Fox foes in Smash Bros. He made his debut back in Brawl on the Wii, not Wii U. I've made no secret of it, I'm not a Star Fox fan. The game's never grabbed me for whatever reason, but I will say that out of the entire Star Fox cast, Wolf is by far my favorite. I like his look, I like his attitude, and his fighting style lends itself a lot more to my playstyle than Fox or Falco. I like his claws, I like that he's a little bit more of a melee-based player. He does have projectiles, but you can really get in close and do some savage damage. I kind of wish that for the Wii U version they would have cut Falco and kept Wolf in there, but I am unfairly biased against Falco. Some of you may know that about me. I've still got an axe to grind against that big mouth bird. Speaking of Fox and Falco, if Wolf is in a battle and Fox and Falco are also there, you might get a few unique lines of dialogue. One of those nice little touches that Mr. Sakurai loves to throw in. Wolves are also my favorite animal in real life, so I can't wait to have Wolf O'Donnell face off against Wolfman and the Castlevania stage. I think that'll be really fun. When discussing the potential of playable characters in Smash Bros., the topic of other in-game appearances often comes up, like, for example, is this character already in Smash Bros. As an assist trophy or as a stage boss? Toad was a Mii Fighter costume in Smash Bros. For Wii U, as well as one of Princess Peach's special moves, which had 3 different versions if you include the customs. It looks like, if I'm interpreting Peach's promotional footage correctly, that maybe her Toad special move got a little bit of an upgrade. It looks like he's throwing some punches and kicks in there. Then again, the way they edit these things together, sometimes those are assist trophies, or stage hazards, or maybe Toad's always moved like that and I just never noticed it, but I doubt that's the case. So when Toad was revealed to still be included in Peach's moveset, a lot of people interpreted that as confirmation that Toad has no chance of being a playable character in this outing. Some have suggested that maybe Captain Toad would be a better fit as a playable character in Smash Bros. It's not hard to imagine how Sakurai and the brilliant team that he has behind him could dream up a moveset for Captain Toad, but we've really seen no evidence to suggest that that's going to be the case this time. Not to say that it can't. Mr. Sakurai is in the business of defying expectations. I'm going to repeat that. And this is for anybody who watched the last Waluigi episode too. I heard the argument time and time again. Waluigi is an assist trophy. Get over it. He has zero chances of being included in the game, either as a playable character in the base game or in DLC. Well, that statement is obviously dead wrong. That's not to say that he's going to appear in the game, but to say that he can't appear in the game is unbelievably naive and profoundly inaccurate. I'll tell you right now, if Waluigi had the most votes in the Smash ballot, he would already be in the game. Putting Waluigi in Smash Bros. Is way easier than Bayonetta. There's zero licensing involved. Nintendo owns the character outright. If the world over he's the #1 pick, all they have to do to put Waluigi in Smash Bros. Is pull the lever. The only reason he's not in the game so far is Nintendo hasn't chosen to include him. But at any such time as they want to, they can. And because every single iteration of Smash Bros. Has changed the rules, we don't know what's going to happen down the road. For all we know, there can be another Smash Fighter ballot, where Nintendo invites us, the adoring fans, to vote for what characters we most want in the game. Maybe they're going to take that all into consideration and put the top character or characters in by a DLC at a later date. I think we're seeing some pretty strong evidence to suggest how Nintendo is utilizing the information that they got from the last Smash ballot. I ran independent polls. I know a lot of other sites out there ran independent polls, and consistently, time over time, King K. Rool, Chrom ranked very high on those lists. So you know Nintendo's taking this to heart, and you know that they're not trying to meet expectations. They are trying to defy expectations. They are trying to exceed and surprise. So could Waluigi ever be in the game? Of course he could. Will he for sure? Nobody can say at this point. But what I can say at this point for sure is that no one can say for sure that he will not be. And I guess the same goes for Captain Toad. So apologies for the long-winded tangent. It comes from a place of excitement and love for this game that I cannot wait to play, and I know you can't wait to play it too. I'm honored and humbled that you choose to spend your time counting down the days with me. Please let me know in the comments section what topics interest you most about Smash Bros. And what you would like to hear me talk about in next week's edition of Smash Ultimate Countdown. If you like this show, we have all kinds of fun stuff going on the Nintendo Wired channel. Please consider subscribing, maybe give this video a like, and if you want to stay up to date on all things Smash Brothers, you can ring that notification bell. I want to give a very special thank you to all my patrons out there. You are the best, and I love you. We'll see you all next time. Thanks for playing.